today we are talking about prompt power, unlocking the potential of AI in your business. And this came about because you'll remember I did the AI and You in 2024 webinar to wrap up last year. And I had a lot of people come back to me afterwards to say, that they're still not terribly comfortable with the way that they need to interact or work with prompts for, ChatGPT and the like. So I had to think about it and, came up with this idea of just doing a quick webinar to give you, just the really kind of essential guide to what it takes to create good prompts so you get better answers. Because as AI becomes more ubiquitous in our business over the coming year, then really it's going to rely on us to be able to ask better questions in a way that the programs and the platforms will be able to give us good responses. So a little bit of housekeeping. As I said, we're here for an hour. The session is being recorded. You will get a copy of that. We're using the chat box for any questions that you may have as we go through. I'll be checking in on those intermittently as the hour progresses. So please do just pop anything that you've got into the chat session. Hopefully I'll cover most of your questions as we go through, but if there's anything specific, then absolutely just keep an eye on the chat box. Before we kick off, I do want to pay my respects to the traditional owners of the lands on which we are gathering today. This is my home area. This is Bundjalung country in northern New South Wales. And I like to think about this image and reflect on this. For me, is a really good kind of symbol for AI. We have this constant kind of ebb and flow of technology and platforms and information just building and building and building at the moment. And it's really important for all of us to be able to get comfortable with watching what's happening. And like we do at the surf, as Aussies, we'll often sit and stare at the waves and look for rips and try to figure out, the safest place that we can swim and areas that we might need to avoid. And AI for me is really like that right now. It's really about kind of sitting and watching and seeing what's going on and then becoming familiar with what's available and what we can dive into that's going to optimize our business, increase productivity, help us with growth, help us with marketing, and not get caught up in the bright, shiny objects that, quite frankly, they're going to, come and go very, very quickly this year. We do have some new people on the call. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with me or my work, my name is Tracy Sheen. I'm known as the Digital Guide. I have been around technology, marketing, and business for the past 30 plus years. I wrote a book called The End of Technophobia, which won Australia's Business Book of the Year and Best Technology Book. My second book, AI and You, is very, very close to hitting the editor. So that will be out in the next couple of months. And really what I do now is spend a lot of my time traveling around Australia, speaking, running workshops, webinars, hosting, consulting, that type of thing around upskilling and helping people understand AI, emerging technology, etc. So if you want to know more about that or how you can get me to region, then do drop me an email and there'll be some details later on in the webinar. All right, let's kick off. So we're here to talk about prompt mastery. So let's not assume any knowledge. Let us really kind of kick back right to the start and let's have a look at what a prompt actually is. So a prompt essentially is just the way that we interact with an AI system. So we need to give it a bit of a nudge, a bit of information in order for the platform or the system to be able to create a response for us. And essentially That's what we call a prompt. So when you hear about people talking about prompt engineers or, writing a better prompt or things like that, that is all we're talking about. What's the information that we're putting into the system, and how can we improve that to make sure that we're getting the best quality responses? Just checking in to say g'day to Kylie in Yeppoon, and hello, the lovely Wendy Pavey. Always makes me feel, whenever I see you and Jeff on the call, I always feel really guilty because I always owe you phone calls. Excellent. All right, so let's have a look at what makes a good prompt. All right, take notes if you want, take screenshots if you want, but remember, you will get copies of this. So the first one is give clear instructions. If you don't know what you want, the system has no way of figuring that out, okay? Yet it cannot read minds. Give it a while, maybe it will, but like you're talking to a VA or to another member of your team or to a friend or to a family member, or even, dare I say, think about chatting with little kids, you have to be really, really clear and specific with your instructions. So there's a few steps in crafting a good prompt, and we just kind of outlined them here, and we'll go through them one by one and have a bit of a look at them. So number one is you need to include details of what you want to achieve. Okay, so if I'm writing a prompt, I need to say, I'm writing, or help me write an email for a cold outreach program. The end result I want is for the person to book a call with me. Okay, so I'm giving details of what it is. I want a cold email, don't know this person. End result, I want them to book a call with me. You can ask the system to adopt a persona. So that's number two. This is really, really helpful when you're working on different aspects of your business. So for example, if I am drafting something around marketing, I might say, adopt the persona of Seth Godin and write a landing page copy, or help me come up with an email. Now, Seth Godin, for those of you who don't know, is kind of the godfather of modern day marketing. Or you can put a business plan in and say, adopt the persona of Elon Musk and review and critique the business plan. You can also say to it, as a business outreach specialist, please write the following, or as a marketing specialist, do this, or as a financial advisor, review the budget. So you can ask it to adopt a persona, and that can be very, very helpful when you're narrowing down specific areas that you want to work with. Number three is you want to clearly demarcate areas that you want treated differently. So, for example, if I'm asking it to come up with some dot points for a presentation or for a webinar, and the webinar is called Prompt Mastery, I would say, give me X number of points around Prompt Mastery webinar. Here's the audience, here's what the end result is, etc. So if you put inverted commas, or you make it very, very clear around what the content is that is to be treated differently, that assists the platform and the program in understanding and providing better quality results. Number four is break your tasks down. So if you are putting in this big long thing, and I'll show you an example of this as we go through, but if you put in a big long diatribe, the system has to kind of pick through everything, and it tries to respond generically to everything. So if you have a series of things that need doing, break the tasks down into steps. And as I said, I'll show you an example of that as we go through. Number five is provide examples. So if you have, if you're on the paid ChatGPT plan, you can, add a link to a website and say, here's an example of some content on a website that I really like. Audiences are the same, etc. Or upload a document and say, please review this document. Based on that, I'm going to ask you some questions. Just as a show of hands, just pop a little yes into the chat box if you are paying for ChatGPT at the moment. So we've got a yep, we've got a no from Wendy. Yep, okay, excellent. So Everything I'll kind of do will be around the free version, but I will show you a couple of the paid ones as well, so you can see kind of what you get as you step up. And the last one around the creating a good prompt, just the really quick ones, is specify your desired length. Now, one of the interesting things is ChatGPT or any of the large language models or LLMs can't count. So you may have noticed if you've said to it, write me a 500-word blog, that it might come back at like 250 words or, 600 words or something. So it can't actually count, but you can say to it something like, write a concise 2-paragraph version of. Give it an idea of what it is that you're looking for. Are you looking for a really long response that you can turn into something, or do you just want some quick dot points? So you can even say to it, give me X number of dot points on the following, or, how do I think about this? What are the strategies? So really, really helpful to give it those kinds of guidelines there. So some other prompting tips before we get into some really nitty gritty is offer the reference material. Okay, so even if you don't have a document to upload or a website that you want it to read, you can say to it, based on information from the Guinness Book of Records 2023 or 2022, who is the etc. And it can access that as reference material then. You can also tell it to allow for thinking time. So you may have noticed that when you put a response in, it's super quick, particularly if you're saying, draft me an email or give me some ideas for this. It's really, really quick. It's like bang, 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 and you're like, wow, I can't possibly think that quickly. But you can also say to, if it's something that, you want a more considered answer, tell it that. So say to it, I'm working on X, please provide a considered response and allow for thinking time. And you'll notice that the system actually slows itself down and really does a bit more kind of reflection on the response that it will give you. One of my favorites is reverse engineering prompts. So if I'm stuck for the best way to ask a question, I will say to it, hey, I need to create a policy on social media. What would be the best prompts to ask you to help me write that document? And then it will come bang, 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 bang with a list of things. And then you can put that into a new prompt in which you can say, okay, based on the points that you've just given me, I need to write a policy for social media usage for this type of company, this type of industry. Here's the audience. Utilizing that information, please craft the outline for the policy. So that reverse engineering, that's a really, really nice one to have in your back pocket. Give examples. So if you have a great email or a great blog that you really like, even if you can't upload it, copy the text in and you can say to it, I'm going to provide some reference material for you. Please review the material and then tell me when you're ready for questions. So it will then, you can then, copy and paste, as many emails or as many blogs, Wendy, to that question, you can just keep copying and pasting. You can say, here's another one, copy, paste, enter. Here's another one, copy, paste, enter. Here's another one, copy, paste, enter. And then say to it, now I have some questions for you. And then you can say to it, okay, based on this style, similar kind of structure, I need you to do this. And that will then help set the tone and the structure for future questions. So yeah, you can get it to wait. Absolutely. And be conversational. So one of the weird things and the interesting thing is we don't actually know why this is the case. But if you're conversational and polite to it, so if you say please and thank you, even though it is a platform, an AI, a computer, essentially, it gives you better quality responses. So I always like to think too, if we're going to be taken over by Terminator, we want the AI to think that at least we were polite to it along the way. So be conversational, and do give it, the please and thank yous as you go along. You can ask it for feedback. So this is another really handy one. So if you're uploading information to it, or it has written something or helped you craft something or helped you design something, you can then say to it as the next prompt, provide feedback on this document or on this email. Or again, you can give it a persona. So as a marketing outreach professional, provide feedback on this, on the previous email, and it will then go back into feedback mode and give you other areas that it may want to update. So that's the next one. Check if it wants to add to its response. So particularly after you've been working with a prompt for a while, so you've had a bit of backwards and forwards with it, kind of massaging it to the way that you want it to be, you might then want to say to it, okay, this is looking really good. Is there anything else that I'm missing? Based on this audience, again, reflecting on the audience that we're talking about, or whatever the work is that we're doing, are we missing anything here? And it will go back through and say, no, it looks good, or you might want to add some information to this, or you might want to tweak that. Use verbs. So when you are giving instructions, think about your doing words, okay? Create, implement, craft. All of those words give it a much better indication of what you are looking to achieve. And if you don't know, ask it. It's also a thesaurus. So, you can say, what's another word for craft in the context of this? And it will come back with a list of things. And then you can say, okay, justify the following, or cite responses, or, whatever it is, and it will come back for you with that. You can also ask it for multiple perspectives. So when you are asking for a response, or when you're working with it, you can say, based on the following conditions that I'm giving you, I would like 3 different perspectives, or 5 different perspectives, or 2 different perspectives. One might be, devil's advocate. One might be from marketing. One might be from admin. One might be from finance, etc. So you're starting to look at something from a more of a 360 viewpoint. So some really kind of nice little just nuggets to keep in mind there as you're working through. Any questions on those first ones as we move into the next section? All right, all quiet on the Western Front. Excellent. Let us talk about chain prompting. So chain prompting is when you build on an initial idea. So you might say in the first sense that, write me an email, but then you start to really define and narrow it down. So you're continuing to work on that prompt through a series of conversations backwards and forwards. So that's called chain prompting. So let's use the example of wanting to draft a blog or an article. So you might start with, saying, I want to write a blog for small business owners around utilizing AI in 2024. Please provide 5 different headlines that would be engaging. So, it will come up then with 5 different headlines for you, and that's your first prompt. So then you can say to it, okay, I like headline number 2. Provide me 3 sub headlines that I can use in the article or in the blog, and it will go down and it will then give you those 3 sub headlines. So then you can say, okay, now I want 5 dot points for each of the sub headlines, and it will do those for you. And then you can say to it, are we missing anything? Here's the audience. Here's what I want them to know. Anything else I need to achieve? And then you can say to it, arrange this in an order that is going to be enticing and engaging for a reader. So then it will go back and it will rework everything, and it will kind of put it into a bit of an order for you. And then you might want to say something like, what potential keywords or hashtags or images would you include with this sort of article? And it will say, here are the keywords that that people would be searching for. Here's a hashtag that you might want to use, and we would use these types of images as well. Now, if you have the paid version, you can then say, put that into a table, and then you might flip it and then say to it, okay, you're Elon Musk. Don't know why that keeps coming to me. You're Elon Musk, utilizing the following information. Write the intro, or write the first paragraph, or write the blog for me based on this information. And then you can ask it to critique it, etc. So that's how you kind of work on that chain. Because remember, as you start a conversation, it will remember the conversation as it goes through. So by the time we get down to, what keywords or what hashtags do I want to use, step 6, it's going to remember what the headline was. It's going to remember what your subheadings were. It's going to remember the dot points. It's going to have told you if you're missing anything, and it's going to have put it into some kind of logical order. So you don't need to keep reminding it, we're working on this article, this is the audience, etc. You can just keep moving along. Okay, so let's actually look at some prompt ideas that you can use in your business. You might want to tweak them slightly, or you can just give these ones a go and see what you can come up with for your own business. So these are some prompt ideas around productivity issues, okay? So the first one is prioritizing tasks. So do you remember back at the beginning, I was talking about number 4 here, that you might want to, when you're talking to it, consider breaking things down into smaller steps. Well, this is where we can start really leaning into some of the power that ChatGPT and other models can offer us. So if we look at prioritizing tasks, here's a prompt that we can put in. I need help prioritizing my tasks. Here's task 1, outline it. Here's task 2, outline it. Here's task 3, give it a deadline or a timeline for each of the tasks that you're working on. Include any priority. So task 1 is for a client. I need to have it to them by Friday. Task 2 is for a supplier. It's got to be done by Monday. Task 3 is an internal thing, whatever that is. Include your priorities, include any task dependencies. So task 1 is for a client, it's got to be done by Friday, but I also need admin to provide this, or finance to provide a budget before I can go back. So it will then, it's starting to get that information. And then include any kind of personal preferences or any criteria that need to be taken into account. So task 1 is for a client, the client is X. The purpose of it is Y, this is my business. So you're giving it a bit more information. Has anyone played around with getting it to prioritize tasks or things for them, or really good for your daily kind of to-dos or your weekly to-dos when you're sitting down, looking at your list of, oh my God, what am I going to get done? Really, really handy one. To just sit there on a Sunday night or a Monday morning and go, okay, here's my tasks for the week, bang, 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 bang. Even if you put them into a note or a Word document or somewhere, and then copy and paste them. So you could set yourself up a template in Word or somewhere else that you use, and then just each week dump it into ChatGPT with the, here's my week, prioritize it for me. So Kylie's saying, I have for tasks inside a project, however, not tasks in general. Yep. Interesting usage I never thought of. I know, like you don't think of this stuff until you start playing around with it. And they're really nice. Like I've seen people use this for family. I've got a family of 6. I've got, kids at soccer on Monday and ballet and and it will, build the weekly family schedule for you. So really, really handy. If you want to swipe that one, you can screen grab it. Again, you'll get the slides. The next one is project delivery. So Kylie, this is probably similar to what you were just talking about. So Wendy, let me just go back to there. Would you have to tell it how long you'd expect the task to take? Look, you can. I would probably, remember we just talked about chain prompting? I would probably, one of the things you might say to it is, what would be the expectation of the time allocated to the task? And then that might help you sanity check. Hang on a minute. Am I giving something 5 hours and it's saying I could get it done in an hour? Is that realistic? Or, play with it. I would say play with it. But definitely when you're doing the deadlines or timelines, you could say to it, you know, how long do you think I should allocate for this? Or what's a typical allocation period for that? So project delivery. So this can be really handy when, if there's something, a particular project that you're working on, let's say you're building a website or you've got an actual program to deliver. So this is where you go in. So you would start by describing the project and your role. So we're working on X project. My role in the project is Y. There's, X number of team in the project. Here's a list of the tasks that need to be achieved by this time frame or by this deadline. Here are the challenges that we need to overcome. And then I want you to help me achieve or reach my outcome. So here's my goal that I'm looking to achieve. Bang, and it will come down. And then you'll find that you will need to kind of massage it and refine it again from there. Okay, next one is proofreading. I love it for proofreading. So I will often upload or just copy and paste text in and, read the following text for readability and grammatical errors. So Wendy, not that you've been outdone, you are always smarter than ChatGPT, but if I don't want to come to you with absolutely everything, it's my new little red pen. So include the context of the text or the purpose. So, hey, here's an email I've written for a client. It's on a business outreach. The tone is friendly. I've known the client for a while. We've got a good relationship. The purpose of this email is to advise them that we've got to put our prices up, as an example. What are your goals and objectives? What's your writing style? So I want it to be concise but friendly. Any elements that you want it to look for or consider. So is there any references that it needs to cite or anything like that you really need to call out? And then here's the biggie. Make sure that you ask it to use UK English and grammar because its default is US. Okay, so it will always give you US spelling if you don't specifically say to it, you're a proofreader. Remember, we're adopting a persona. As a proofreader, read the following for readability and grammatical errors. Here's the context, here's everything else, and it will go through and give you the response. Okay. So that's some prompt ideas for productivity. Keen to know which one or which ones you like the sound of in there. What one are you going to try in your own business as we move on to prompt ideas for sales and marketing? Now, this is usually where I see people playing around with ChatGPT to begin with, to be honest. We've all, write a Facebook post, redo my LinkedIn profile, that type of thing. So Wendy's going to try it for task breakdowns. Kylie's, you can also add the spelling requests to the custom instructions too. Absolutely, Kylie. That's only if you have a paid version though. So we'll talk about that in a second, and task breakdown for Jared. Awesome. All right. So let's look at some sales and marketing ones. So provide X 5 numbers, 10, 20, 3, whatever. Provide X number of tips to improve the SEO on my website. Okay, nice, handy one. We all want to get better rankings in Google. So now we need to give it a bit more information. So I want you to give me 5 ideas for ways that I can improve SEO on my website. My industry is training and education. I work with small business owners to help them understand and leverage AI and emerging technology. My SEO goals are to be found by councils, corporates that are looking to bring training into region. What are your existing SEO strategies, if any? So currently using SEM Rush, or if you're using any other tools, you would add that in there. What are your existing SEO challenges? It could be, website is new, needing to get the word out, doing more work on YouTube, whatever that is. And then you put that forward and it will come back with a bit of an SEO report for you. So it'll say, based on, all of the information, here's some things that you can do that will assist. And it might be some of them are quite technical, fix the robot TXT text or something that you might then want to outsource, or you might say, hey, that's a bit technical. Is there anything that I can do myself that is around copy creation or something to make life easier? So there's an SEO one that you can use. One that's really popular that I'm seeing a lot of good responses with are this writing a press release. So think about what's the purpose of your press release. So for example, my new book's coming out. So the purpose might be I'm launching a new book, right? Include your preferred tone and style. So this is going to the media, so I probably want it to sound a bit more professional, but my style, short sentences, whatever that looks like for you. Who do you want this to go to? Well, I want to be picked up by Financial Review. I want to be picked up by New Idea. I want to be picked up by Coffee Emporium magazine. Whatever it is, that's what you want to put in. Include any quotes, statements, or references that you want. So, AI is going to be ubiquitous for all small businesses across Australia over the next 12 to 18 months, said Tracy Sheen, the digital guide. So that might be a quote I want to put in, or statements, references, stats. You might say, include the following stats according to the Australian Small Business Family Enterprise Ombudsman. The average age of a business owner in Australia is 50. So it will include that information into the press release for you. Any key dates, the book launch is happening on X, at Y location. What is the product or service that you are writing the press release about? So really give it some details if it's a product. So Jared does some awesome cold brew coffee. So it might be, launching Jared's awesome cold brew coffee with, hints of cinnamon and notes of nutmeg, harvested on the south side of a hill during a thunderstorm, to the sounds of Ave Maria. Whatever the details are, you want to give it a bit of, the more information you can give it, right? The better that the release will come through. And then make sure that you include your features, benefits, and the target audience that you work with as opposed to the media outlet. So the media outlet might be, as I said, Financial Review, but your target audience is really maybe HR managers within corporate organizations who do training hires and things like that. So press release is really, really good one to play around with. Be careful though, journos have a nose for AI written releases. Be sure to edit it. Absolutely, Andrea. Thank you so much. That is such a really important tip to remember, that I never send anything straight out from ChatGPT. I will get it to do the bones. I'll get it to do the thinking, and then I always Tracyfies it. See, I've just done it then. You've always got to make it sound like Wendy or Jared or Andrea or whoever it's coming from, because, I don't know if you've seen it, but if you read the news online, it is getting atrociously obvious that they're just generating guff from AI. The sentences are wrong. There's, it's just horrendous. So anyway, don't fall for that. Thank you, Andrea. Always make it sound like you. Okay, so the next one is, we can say, I want to have I want a bit of an outside opinion around what are the challenges that, this type of business is facing in this type of industry. So if you're thinking about how you might be launching a new product or service. So I know Kerry's working on an amazing product/service, taking speakers and professionals to Turkey to get high quality professional dental work done because of the cost of dental in Australia. So in this instance, it might be, list 5 challenges that speakers are facing in this professional industry around, dental work or something. That's probably a bit convoluted, but you get the idea. So really just thinking through 5 challenges that small business owners face in AI or in retail or in regional Australia. And then you want to give it again a little bit more detail. So, you want to kind of say to it, so who's the target industry or sub-industries that you're working with? So yes, small business, but are they small business retailers? Are they small business tourism operators? So really kind of think through what it is that you're giving. Are there any geographic regions that it needs to be aware of? So I'm looking at this industry or this target, this niche in Sydney metropolitan area or in Australia. Give it the stats or the industry data. So you've probably already done that research. You've got ABS data or you've got industry-based data. The association or CEO for associations say this. So you put that in. Any specific segments or niches. So if there's anything kind of awareness of emerging trends, anything coming up, put all of that in. What's the best practice for addressing the challenges? So again, give it the goal, give it the objective, but instead of you getting caught in your own head going, okay, well, I've got this product or service that I'm thinking through, what are the pain points? What are the challenges? And you get caught in your own loop, put it into ChatGPT and see what it comes up with. Again, you might have to go off and do more research, or it might help you come up with a minimum viable product or service that you can test. But you can then, it's a really good way to kind of sanity check your own thinking. So Kerry's just said, list 5 barriers professional speakers have to improve in their confidence through dental work when thinking of having dental work done overseas. Yeah, look, give it a go, or reverse engineer it. You might just say, I'm working with these types of people to achieve this. I'm looking for a challenge report. What would be the best prompts to ask? And it will come back and say to you, you might want to consider putting in these things, and then you could build your prompt out from there. Okay, next one. Share key factors that influence customer purchasing decisions for your product or service in your industry. So I really like this one. I think, again, often we get caught up in our own heads of thinking we know what our clients want or we know their pathway to purchase. But when we, are chatting with other peers or other people in our network and we kind of chat things through, we'll often go, oh, all right, yeah, I hadn't thought of that. So this is just another kind of sounding board, right? So again, you might have a product or a service coming up, and same thing. What's your target industry, sub-industry, geographic region, stats, data. So pretty much the same thing, right? But we're now saying to it, what stops them from making a purchase decision? Like, where is that pain point that they're likely to say no? Or what are the pain points I need to focus on to help them to a yes? So some really good sanity checking and thinking around there when you're building out a marketing strategy. This one, I get, I create something like this quite a lot with ChatGPT, is writing emails or writing the bones of an email to people as an outreach or to a potential client. So include your contact details. So you want to say, your prompt might start with something like, help me draft an email to the CEO of Telstra. My name is Tracy Sheen, the digital guide. I'm known as the digital guide. I want to chat to them. Excuse me. I want to chat to them about their small business community, and I have a training solution that I think would work. So what are the pain points? I know that over 50% of Telstra's bottom line is, oh, excuse me, I've suddenly got the sneezes, consumer and SME. So I know that that's a big pain point. Thank you, bless you. So I want to include those pain points. I want to know what the product or service is that I want to introduce. So I have a training package that I want to talk to them about. What's the main goal? I might want them to review my website. I might want them to watch a video. I might want them to book a call, whatever that is. Any relevant news or updates. So, my second book is due to release in blah. I've got a regular spot on Koshi's. I've just done this, like whatever that relevant news is for you. And then include any success stories or updates that you might have seen. So if I use my instance, it might be that, we've seen great results with the Cyber Wardens program through COSBOA and the Commonwealth Bank. We know that when people are in region, blah, 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 and what are the next steps? We want you to do this, this, and this. And you also need to include the contact details. So get them to do a sign off, write a nice email sign off as well, and include the contact details for the person that you're outreaching to as well. So it will then draft the email for you. Okay. Again, to Andrea's point, you're not just going to copy paste that and whack it off. You're going to have a look at it and say, I would never say pursuant to, change that, make it sound a little bit more like you. But guess what? You're not staring at the screen going, I got no idea, what I would say to a cold sales lead. Okay, write a video script, write a explainer video script for the launch of a product, write a YouTube intro video script for my YouTube channel. So we're going to look at what's the title and the context of the video. And if you don't have that yet, we can go right back to our chain prompting and have a look at, here's what I want to do. Give me a headline for a video, right? So we can intermix these and utilize them as we go along. So provide some information on the product or service that, hang on, I jumped. So include the title or the context. What's the focus for the video? So the focus is on introducing people to a YouTube channel, or the focus is on a product launch, or the focus is on teaching people how to write a killer headline for LinkedIn, whatever it is. What's the preferred tone? So I want it casual, friendly. I want it professional. I want it short, whatever that is. What are the key messages? Here's the 3 things that they need to include to create a killer headline. That's my key messages. Are there any visual elements or clues? So I will be doing this piece to camera. So camera cut to me, camera cut to screen. I'm going to be filming outside, whatever you're going to be doing, and then include the next steps. So you say to it, what would be the next steps? And it will write you a script. And this one's a fun one to play with because the detail it goes to is insane. So it'll even give you the timings and say, cut to B-roll, include audio here, second person on screen would be helpful, all that type of stuff. So really cool one to play around with. Anyone done any video scripting on ChatGPT? So it's a lot of fun. It's a good one to play around with. Create an ideal customer. So Kylie said heaps is awesome. Love it. Create an ideal customer profile. Okay, this one's really, really great, particularly for people in startup, or again, if you just want a sanity check. Maybe you've been doing this for 20 years and you're going, are these really my ideal customers anymore? Like, really, is there another avenue that I can be looking at that I'm missing? So go in, I want you to create a customer avatar, a customer profile for my cold brew coffee. Here's the pain points. Without coffee, they're likely to commit murder. Without my coffee, it's likely to be, a serial killer. What industry you're based in, cafe, what are the client details that you've already identified, needs coffee, overstressed mum, working out, whatever. And then it will build a bit of a client profile, which you can then say, turn that into an avatar where it will write the story for you. Okay. This ideal client is Mary. She's 32, has 4 kids. She's been up since 4 o'clock this morning. Only thing she gets time for through the day is a coffee. She's always running from soccer to school to PTA to whatever. It will write the story for you. You can use it to create a brand story. Now, this is really helpful if you're redoing your website, or again, if you're looking at product videos or short information videos. So again, write me a brand story for X product or X service. You're going to give it information on your brand or your business history. So start, and you can just put dot points. You don't have to write a big long story if you don't want to, or if you've got something on your website now, copy, paste, whack that in. Started in 2020 with one client. In 2 years' time, I had 500. I went overseas, whatever it is. I'm now working with, this type of person, target audience. Here's my company values. Here's my mission statement. Where do you want to use this? So this is going to go on a website. This is going to be made into a video, whatever that is, give her that information. And again, it will push something out to you. Creating a social media campaign. I told you there was a lot to get through. We've got about 13 minutes left. We've got a few slides left to go. And then, any questions you've got, start getting into stuff. Okay, so creating a social media campaign for this product, this service, etc. So again, who's my target audience? So some of this stuff is quite repetitive, right? But we need to. But remember, if you're doing a chain thing, you only need to give it the target audience once. And when you come around to, you've written an ideal avatar, you've done an email outreach, you've done a blog or whatever. So now you can just say, okay, now I want a social media campaign aimed at the same target audience for this product. And then you only need to give it the additional information. You don't need to keep spinning the same thing over and over and over again to it if you're using the same thread. So what are the uses for the product or service? You can ask it to create an engaging hashtag for you. That can be really helpful. Now, remember, you don't own hashtags, obviously, but coming up with engaging hashtags can be, it's a whole thing into itself. You can say, write me 5 posts for a combination of Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, whatever the platforms that you want to use. Ask it to give you ideas for user-generated content. So I want my users to be able to share content, give me some ideas. So it might be photos of people enjoying a cold brew coffee from Jared's van, or for Kerry, it could be people with, big, beautiful smiles or whatever. Ask for a focus on community engagement, because social media is only good if our people are engaging, right? So we want to make sure that we're creating community engagement. And then also ask for ideas around visual storytelling. What types of images would work with this? How could I build this into a visual storytelling thing? So really, really, I love this one because it will create like 5, 10 emails, or not emails, social media posts for you, in one go. And then all you've got to do is copy paste them into a Word document and work on them separately. If you have the paid version of ChatGPT and you have the paid version of Canva, you can even download it as a table, import it directly into Canva, and Canva will produce all of the content for you, with a couple of clicks, instead of you having to copy and paste and faff about. Create an email marketing series for X product, service, business, whatever. I want email 1 to be the intro, email 2 is around my unique selling proposition, and email 3 is going to be a limited offer. So again, target audience, what are the pain points? Do you have an offer? And if so, what's the acceptable level? Some prepared to go up to 20% off, or buy one, get one free, or, you'll get an hour of my time, whatever it is, and what are the uses of the product or service, and it will draft those emails for you. Are these helpful? Everybody's very quiet. I'm not sure if they're screenshotting or just going, oh my God, like I don't even know. I'm not going to get off the TV. I'm not going to get off my computer for the next 35 years. Excellent. All right, cool. Excellent. All right, I see a few hands coming up too. So I'll jump off in a second. We'll have a bit of a chat. Okay, create a welcome email. So if you've got new subscribers signing up, get it to create the welcome email for you. Give it a brief intro, like I'm launching this product. This is what I've done. This is for people who are signing up for the newsletter or the whatever. I want it to be friendly. I want it to be sarcastic. I want it to be in the tone of Crocodile Dundee. I want it to be written like it's from Bridgerton, what subscribers can expect. So are they going to get weekly correspondence from you? Are they going to get bombarded daily? Are they going to get like videos? What are they going to get? Tell it to include personalization where possible. So it's a really handy one, because then it will refer back to the target audience. And, so it might say something like, you're probably like me, that when you wake up, the first thing you want to do in the morning is grab a great coffee, or, whatever. So it will really, really personalize the content to your audience. And then any special offers or inclusions that you want to give them for signing up or doing the welcome email. Okay, awesome. So, Kerry, I'll show you that one about the AI images if we've got time, but essentially I use the paid version of ChatGPT. And yes, so other groups where people have trained ChatGPT with their own voice, that's the custom instructions. And again, that's on the paid version. So if we've got time, I'll quickly show you what that looks like. Okay, this is the last little section, so let's bring it home. Prompt ideas for operations. Draft a business plan, for X type of business, for dental tourism, or for a coffee business, or for whatever it is. So what's the main objective of the plan? Is this going to be used to give to your bank manager? Are you going to use it for a grant submission? Are you going to use it to enter an award? Include any specific information around the industry, particularly research or anything that you might need. Include your main products and services, your target market, customer base, any particular business goals that you have. So maybe financial growth milestones, marketing milestones, etc. Any competitors or challenges. What is your USP, so your unique selling proposition? And if there's any legal consideration. So if you're, say, a financial advisor, please make sure you include that I can't offer this sort of advice, or it's not taxation advice, or whatever that is, and it will draft it for you. And then, again, you're going to keep building on it. So once you've got it drafted, you're going to say to it, okay, what's missing? And it might add some additional bits. Rewrite the plan with any additional bits, or you might look it over and go, okay, that's not quite right. I want to change that, flip that. So these are just to kind of spur on a few ideas to get you going. Providing a monthly budget. This could be the family budget. It could be your business budget, whatever it is, community organization, if you're on a committee, or, whatever. Include your financials, your expenses. What's the primary goal? So we want to save X per month, or we need to grow the membership base by whatever. Any specific goals or financial targets that you're looking to achieve. You can say I'm using Xero or MYOB as my software, or I've got a spreadsheet that I'm using, or whatever. Include any future goals or any known major events. So launching a book, we're having our third child, we're going to travel around Australia, whatever that is, make sure you put that in as well. Okay, write a job description. So if anyone's looking for team members, or you have team members and you need to update job descriptions, who's the intended audience? We're writing this for our admin. We're writing this for our VA. Here's the tasks they're going to have to do. Here's the benefits in working for our company. What hours are they expected to work? What are the relevant information? You get 4 weeks holiday a year and donuts on Friday, like whatever it is, put it in. It'll draft a job description for you. This one I love, because I hate writing policies and procedures. It is an art form. And can I tell you, when we owned our coffee business, it drove me nuts working with corporates that they wanted our policy for everything. So, what's the primary goal of the policy? Is this a social media policy? Is it a safe work policy? You know, who does it apply to? Who's going to be responsible for implementing and maintaining it? What are the step-by-step actions needed to follow the policy? So they've got to sign in, they've got to do an induction, you know, whatever. How are you going to monitor compliance? How are you going to enforce it? How often do you need to review and update it? Are there any exceptions to the policy? So I remember we worked with an energy company, electricity company, and they wanted Pete to do high voltage training. And we were like, mate, we're only ever in your office, like fixing a coffee machine. We're not going out and climbing poles like, you know, the Origin Energy guys. We're not doing a high voltage induction thing. So are there exceptions? Are there any resources? So particularly with your policies and procedures, please do check them, right? Because there are a lot of regulations around specific industries that you do need to adhere to and maintain. Typically, you will be able to find them on your own industry site. You can copy, upload them, paste them, utilizing these specifications, you know, etc. How are you going to attract feedback about the policy? So I love the policy one. All right, so let's do a quick recap, and we've got 3 minutes to go. So start putting your questions into the chat. So remember, be prepared. You are not going to get your best answer on the first prompt. Be really clear with what you want. Use verbs. If in doubt, ask GPT what it wants. I need to do X. What's the best? You know, give me some ideas on prompts to give me the best answer. I've got a challenge for you. I want to know, and I want you to put it in the chat box, please. Pick one area of your business, whether it was operations, sales and marketing, productivity. I want to know one that you're going to have a practice with in ChatGPT, and you're really going to keep refining it and refining it and refining it until you get some good quality things and you can start playing around with that prompt. Go, put it into the chat. I want to see sales and marketing, Congress marketing. Awesome, Andrea. I love that. Policies, right. I'm going to get it to review our monthly financials. Fantastic. Business operations. All right. One last thing while we're looking. Here's a QR code on the screen. If you have not yet subscribed, I am doing a weekly AI and You newsletter from this weekend. I don't know if I'm going to send it Saturday or Sunday. I haven't decided yet. But the AI information is just about business, right? Because I read everything through the week, but I'm only going to send you stuff that is related to business and what that means for you, why you need to know about this, why you need to look at it, you know, why it could be important. And part of that is you'll get automatically subscribed to the 30-minute, and we're changing the format this year. It's not going to be a top 10 AI tools. They'll come out through the week. As I find one, I'll flick one in the newsletter and you'll get it. Each month now is going to be a 30-minute debrief on where we're at with AI at the moment, what's new, what's come out, what you need to know about, where we're headed, something you need to play with, something you need to know about, etc. Okay, that's me. If you have any questions, you can email me info@thedigitalguide.com.au. There's my LinkedIn, and obviously my Facebook. We are just about out of time, but let me stop share. Let me just check, was there any questions that you wanted me to quickly cover off while I load? I'm just going to open my ChatGPT so you can see. Okay, so when you go for the paid version of ChatGPT, the first thing you'll notice up here is I can choose between 3.5, 4, and plugins. So they now have various plugins. Their app store has open and connected. So I can do things like, here's a website link, read it and summarize what's going on the website. right? I can upload a document, I can do other things. Now, one of Kerry's questions was, how do I create my images? I'm using ChatGPT 4. It has DALL-E built into it. So I might start with something like, please create a retro pop art style, whoops, image. Woman, red hair, aqua, glasses, pearls, and red lipstick. Talking with a retro robot about AI. So I might start with a prompt like that, and you can see now it's creating, it's going through and creating that image. So just give it the style that you want, and it will start, creating those things. I'm just looking into the chat box. Lots of usable prompts and things to ponder. Give the marketing a try. Fantastic. And you can see there's the first image that it has created for me. Okay, so based on what I've given it. So pearls, red hair, aqua-ish, glasses, talking to a robot. So now if I want to, I can just download that and that will go into part of my thing. Okay. Now, if I wanted to, I could keep refining that, keep refining it, and keep refining it. Okay, we have gone 2:00. Didn't that hour go quickly? Wow, look at Linda. I feel like one of those political ads where I get faster and faster and faster as we go along. Too fast. Okay, questions? How's everyone feeling? Like, hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully you got some screen grabs, or you're going to wait for the PowerPoint and the video and go back through and start having a play. Do I find the paid version of ChatGPT helpful? Yeah, I'm on it all the time. I think it's 20 bucks a month USD or something. Not expensive. And then you can build in custom interactions and build out your own GPT, which is your own chatbot. You can start building that out as well. So that's it from me. I'll wait for the PowerPoint video, review again and again and again. Thanks so much. You are so welcome. All right, folks, make sure you're on the newsletter. I'm looking forward to seeing everyone. Share the link for the newsletter. I would love, obviously, this to get far and wide, because I think this is going to be a huge year for business and AI. And love you along on the journey so we can all learn together. Have a great afternoon, and I will see you very soon. Take care.